This is a short tutorial about the Nechako Watershed Health Project and Atlas. The project was initiated in the fall of 2014 to assess the health of the Nechako River watershed in north-central British Columbia. It uses the best available information from a wide range of sources and will be used to inform and influence decisions and actions to improve the health and sustainability of the watershed and the communities that depend on it. The Nechako Watershed Health Atlas was developed by the Fraser Basin Council, the Community Mapping Network, and several partners from across the Nechako region. Financial support was provided by Environment Canada and the BC Wildlife Federation. Many organizations and agencies contributed data to the project, and these groups and associated data sources will be included in a references and resources document when the project is complete. Updates to the project and Atlas are planned, so please check back soon. In this tutorial, first I'll show you how to find your way around on the Atlas using map tools such as turning map layers on and off and changing the base maps, and using the measure tool. Then I'll show you how to find maps and data of interest in the Nechako watershed, such as the stewardship projects and salmon escapement information.
When you first turn on the Atlas, you'll notice that the Google Street Maps are in the background with the Stewart Nechako project watershed boundaries highlighted in red. In the top of the map, you'll notice that there are resources such as videos, charts, and documents, printing functions, and map tools such as zooming, selecting, and changing base maps. You can also zoom in and out using this bar here, or navigate to the left or right or north or south using this tool. In the legend, you'll notice there are several buttons here that will allow you to do things such as export a map layer to Google Earth and zoom to the extent of a map layer. And these are the different categories you'll see in the legend, such as watershed content, water quality and quantity, etc. And below that, there are search tools and a window for selection detail. And finally, in the bottom left-hand corner here, you'll notice that there's a scale bar. And also the scale will be read out in the right-hand corner, the bottom right-hand corner. But I'll go through several of these things next. First, you can turn layers off and on by clicking the plus in the legend and checking the box of the subfolders such as boundaries and regional districts. And you'll notice on the map they'll come up. Just be careful that if you are turning on layers in the subfolders, that you've turned on the associated boxes in the hierarchy, such as the boundaries category and the watershed context. I use the magnifying glass tool to zoom into specific areas in the map, and I'll show you an example. When you zoom in, different base maps will come up depending on the scale in the hydrology. As we zoom in, eventually the freshwater atlas for British Columbia will turn on, which is a base map derived at the 1 to 20,000 scale. Okay, let's zoom out to the extent of the map. And then we can turn off the regional districts and close that category of information. And another tool we can use is the Export to Google Earth tool. So if you highlight the layer of interest, you can then go up and click this button, and it will allow you to bring up the layer in Google Earth. Next, let's change the base maps for the Google Earth background maps. In this example, we have the Google Street Maps. We'll change that to satellite or hybrid, and you'll notice that it quickly changes the base map. Another tool we can use is viewing to the extent of a particular base map. For example, if we are zoomed in to the Nechako project, we can zoom to the extent of a particular map layer by highlighting it and clicking this button. The button will zoom to the extent of all features that are contained in this layer. Next, I'll show you how to use the measure tool, which you can measure linear distances or areas. So let's just zoom in and measure the distance between these two lakes. You can see that it's 8.31 kilometers. Okay, now we'll look at some of the map layers that are specific to the Stewart-Nechako watershed area. If we look in the legend, notice that there are several categories of information here. The watershed context, which has boundaries and base maps and communities. Water quality and quantity. If we open that, we can see there's cabin data for monitoring, environmental monitoring sites, and water quality from the Forest Resource Evaluation Program. There's information under fish and wildlife, such as fish distribution, ecosystems, resource use, conservation, and stewardship. Below this, you can view the search tools, which will allow you to navigate to specific map layers with certain attributes that you'd like to see. For example, the riparian function search for the Forest Resource Evaluation Program. We'll select that, and then we'll select all of the properly functioning sites that are associated with it. So we search the riparian function, properly functioning conditions, and view on map. And you'll notice that all of the sites that are properly functioning have a red highlighted box behind them. You can also see the attributes of each site in the selection detail window, such as the date and some of the assessment criteria. In the next example, let's look under ecosystems and forest cover change and cumulative loss between 2000 and 2013. Once that comes up, you'll notice the color pattern between 2000 and 2013 showing up in the Nechako watershed area. You can also view a pine beetle video, which was developed by the province of BC and Canada. It's a provincial level projection of the current mountain pine beetle infestation in the Nechako watershed area. It's a cumulative percentage of pine killed that's been observed between 1999 and 2013 and projected from 2014 to 2020. Next, let's change the base maps back to road maps and zoom in, and we can look at this salmon spawning escapement information. And if we zoom in, we'll be able to hover our cursor over the Nechako River, for example, and bring up a tooltip with the watershed code and river name and click on it, and then view the escapement report from Fisheries and Oceans Canada. And there's information about Chinook, Coho, and Sockeye from 2013 to 1950. Finally, let's zoom back out to the map extent, and we'll turn on the Conservation and Stewardship category and Fishery Registry Projects. Then we'll zoom into the project area. And select one. And this is a stewardship activity project, Public Awareness and Education, Stewart River White Sturgeons Stewardship Project, that was started in the year 2001. This is under the selection detail. Please feel free to explore all these map layers and the associated information. There's quite a bit. There'll be more layers being added soon. You can print, select within, measure areas, and other functions. So don't be afraid to try them.
For further information about the project, please don't hesitate to call or email Steve Litke or Amy Greenwood from the Fraser Basin Council, or contact the Community Mapping Network. Thank you.